Days passed as John and Kara spent time learning about each other. She taught him Nazari combat techniques which used all four arms in complex patterns. He showed her human concepts like music and art which fascinated her. They hunted together, explored the planet, and spent evenings sharing stories under the three moons. On the fifth day, Kara took John to a high mountain overlooking a vast valley. The view was breathtaking, with strange crystalline formations catching the light of Zebulon Five's twin suns. This sacred place to Nazari warriors, she explained. Many come here before great battles for clarity of mind. John sat beside her on a flat rock, feeling the alien wind against his face. It was becoming easier to understand Kara's simplified English, especially as she learned more human words from him. "Why did you become a warrior?" he asked, curious about her background. Kara's four eyes looked distant as she remembered all Nazari females train as warriors from birth, she explained. "But I show special talent. My mother was great commander, my grandmother too. Family line of strong fighters." John nodded, understanding the concept of family traditions. "Have you been in many battles?" Kara touched a series of marks etched into her armor, each mark one victory, she said with pride. 17 battles, all victories until you. Almost 18. John felt a strange mix of pride and embarrassment. "I almost beat you," almost, Kara agreed with a smile that showed her pointed teeth. "This why I respect. You no other opponent come so close. This why we here together now." As they sat together on the mountain, John realized how comfortable he had become in Kara's presence. Her alien features no longer seemed strange but familiar. Her four arms, her violet skin, her ridge of small horns, they were simply part of who she was. Kara felt similar thoughts about John. His strange round ears, his five-fingered hands, his pale skin. All these differences had become familiar, even appealing. She found herself watching him when he wasn't looking, studying the way he moved, the expressions on his face. "What happens when your 20 days are up?" John asked, breaking the comfortable silence. Kara frowned. "I return to Nazari Fleet report findings." "And what will you report?" "About me." "About humans." Kara was silent for a long moment. "Truth I must tell. But truth is complex. Humans not simple enemies as some Nazari believe. You show this, I tell High Command, humans worthy of respect. Potential allies." "And what about us?" John asked, carefully, again. Kara was quiet. "I not know," she admitted finally. "This not happened before Nazari warrior and human soldier becoming whatever we becoming." They watched as one of the suns began to set, painting the sky in shades of green and gold. "Unlike anything on Earth, whatever we're becoming," John said, echoing her words. "I'm glad we met, even if it was in battle." Kara placed one of her hands over his, a gesture she had learned was important to humans. Connection. "I glad too." John Adams. The next morning, Kara suggested they explore a network of caves she had detected during her initial survey of the planet. They packed supplies and set out across the rocky landscape. Together they had developed an easy rhythm, Kara's strength and combat skills complementing John's technical knowledge and problem-solving abilities. The cave entrance was hidden behind a waterfall of strange golden liquid that Kara explained was not water, but a silicon-based fluid common on this planet. Inside, the temperature dropped significantly and bioluminescent organisms provided natural lighting in shades of blue and purple. Nazari believe caves like Mother's Embrace, Kara explained. Safe, protected, good place for thinking. The interior of the cave system was beautiful, with crystal formations and strange flowing stone patterns. John had never seen anything like it. Even on the alien worlds humans had colonized. As they ventured deeper, they discovered a large central chamber with a pool of the same golden liquid they had seen at the entrance. The pool glowed softly, casting warm light throughout the space. Kara stopped suddenly, her head tilted in a way John had come to recognize, meant she was listening intently. "Not alone," she whispered. Her four hands moved to her weapons. John drew his sidearm, scanning the shadows. "What is it, Draculor?" Kara hissed. "Cave predator." Very dangerous. From the darkness emerged a creature that made John's blood run cold. It resembled a massive centipede, but with razor-sharp crystal formations. Along its segments, its multiple eyes glowed with the same bioluminescence as the cave walls, and a row of feeding appendages clicked hungrily near its mouth. "Stand your ground," Kara instructed. "No running Dracolor chase. Fleeing prey." The creature reared, up nearly touching the high ceiling of the chamber. Its size was incredible, at least 30 feet long and thick as a tree trunk together. Kara said firmly, "Position, back to back. Circle movement." John followed her instructions, pressing his back against hers as they began to move in a slow circular pattern, keeping the creature in view. The Dracolor seemed confused by this strategy, clearly used to prey that ran or froze. "When I signal strike high, you strike low," Kara said. Each word carefully measured, and quiet. John nodded, understanding. They continued their circular movement until Kara gave a short, sharp sound from her throat. Now. They broke apart in perfect synchronization, Kara leaping impossibly high, her energy spear aimed at the creature's eyes while John dropped low, firing his weapon at the joints where the crystal armor seemed thinnest. The Dracolor screeched a sound so piercing John felt pain in his ears, but he kept firing, targeting the same spots. Kara's spear struck true, blinding several of the creature's eyes, causing it to thrash wildly. "Careful, John, poison spines," Kara warned as she landed and rolled away from the creature's thrashing front segments. John dodged a swipe from a crystal-edged limb, feeling it tear through his uniform, missing his skin by millimeters. He continued firing, aiming for the joints and soft tissue. Kara attacked again and again, her forearms wielding her spear with incredible precision. She moved like water flowing around the creature's attacks. Never where the Dracolor expected, her fighting style was beautiful to watch even in the middle of danger. Together they wore the creature down, John's ranged attacks keeping it distracted while Kara delivered precise strikes to vulnerable areas. Finally, with a terrible screech, the Dracolor collapsed, its bioluminescent eyes fading to darkness. John stood breathing heavily, his weapon hot in his hand. Kara approached him, her violet skin gleaming with exertion. "You fight well as partner," she said, with genuine admiration. Most Nazari warriors not survive Dracolor. Even in teams of 4, John felt a surge of pride at her words, then noticed a green fluid leaking from a cut on one of Kara's arms. "You're hurt," he said, moving toward her. "Small wound," Kara dismissed. "Not serious. Let me see." John insisted, taking her arm gently. The cut was shallow, but the edges looked inflamed. "Is it poisoned?" Kara shook her head. "Not poison to Nazari, but should clean." John removed a medical kit from his pack and cleaned the wound, carefully applying antiseptic gel from his supplies designed to work on most carbon-based life forms. Kara watched him curiously as he worked human medicine. "Interesting," she commented. "Your touch, gentle. For warrior." John smiled, looking up at her. "Many humans can be both warriors and healers. We believe in balance." Kara seemed to consider this deeply. "Your species strange, John Adams. Warriors, healers, artists, scientists, all in one. Many Nazari choose single path. I only warrior until I meet you." They made camp in the cave chamber, the defeated Dracolor's body providing a strange form of security, as no other predators would approach it. John shared his ration bars with Kara, who found them bland but nutritionally acceptable. As they sat beside a small heat source, Kara asked about Earth and human society. John told her about the diversity of human cultures, the different nations and peoples, the art, music, and literature that humans had created throughout their history. Kara listened, with fascination, interrupting occasionally to ask questions. "Many Nazari think humans primitive," she admitted, "just because new to space travel, but your people complex, rich history. Many ideas I never hear before." In return, Kara told John about Nazari society, the matriarchal structure with female warriors at the top of the social hierarchy, the complex honor codes that governed behavior, the spiritual beliefs centered around combat and personal growth through challenge. The more they shared, the more they found points of both difference and similarity. Their species had evolved on worlds light years apart, yet they could understand each other's values. find common ground in courage, honor, and the desire to explore the unknown. As they prepared to sleep, Kara positioned herself near the cave entrance, ever the protector. Despite her insistence that no other predators would approach the Dracolor's remains, she maintained her warrior's vigilance. John watched her silhouette against the faint glow from outside, thinking about how quickly his perception of her had changed from alien threat to trusted ally, to something more. Something he wasn't quite ready to name. Kara turned, sensing his gaze. "Sleep, John Adams. I keep watch. First half then. You second half, equal partners." John nodded and settled into his sleeping bag, but his mind remained active, filled with thoughts of violet skin, 4 strong arms, and eyes that saw him truly as no one on Earth ever had. The morning light filtered through the cave entrance, waking John. He found Kara already alert, packing their supplies. He had slept through his watch shift. "You needed rest," she said simply. "Dracolor fight took much human energy. I stay awake." "No problem," John felt guilty but grateful. He was learning that Nazari required less sleep than humans, another biological difference between their species. After a quick meal, they left the cave system, returning to the open landscape of Zebulon 5. The twin suns were high in the sky, making the rocky terrain shimmer with heat. "We returned to ship today," Kara announced check messages from Nazari Command. As they walked, John wondered what would happen if Kara received new orders. Would she still honor their alliance, or would duty to her people come first? He had come to trust her, but he also understood the pull of loyalty to one's own kind. The ship appeared on the horizon, its metallic surface gleaming in the sunlight. As they approached, Kara grew tense, her posture changing subtly. John had learned to read her body language over the past days, and something was wrong. "Quiet," she whispered, suddenly pulling him behind a large rock formation. "Ship compromised." John peered carefully around the rock and saw movement near Kara's vessel, another Nazari. But there was something different about this one. Its skin was darker, almost black, and its movements were jerky. Aggressive. "Vexcar." Kara hissed the word like a curse. "Rouge warrior. Exile criminal." "Who, John?" asked, keeping his voice low. "Bad Nazari," she explained. "Rejected warrior code, uses forbidden weapons, steals kills for glory. No honor." "Why here?" John questioned. "Tracking me," perhaps Kara suggested. "Or looking for easy prey. Human scout ship, maybe. What do we do?" Kara's face hardened. "Challenge required by code, I must fight. Vexcar has dishonored Nazari." "Name?" John grabbed her arm gently. "Wait. We don't know if he's alone. There could be others." Kara considered this. "Good thinking," she acknowledged. "Another reason you worthy ally must observe first." They circled wide, keeping low to the ground, using rock formations as cover. As they drew closer to the ship, they confirmed John's suspicions. Vexacar was not alone. 2 other dark-skinned Nazari warriors stood guard while he examined Kara's vessel. "Rogue band?" Kara whispered. 3 warriors, all exiled for crimes against Nazari. "Honor. Dangerous?" John asked. "Very," Kara confirmed. "No honor means no rules. No mercy." They retreated to a safe distance to make a plan. John suggested using the terrain to their advantage, setting traps and using distraction tactics to divide the rogues. But Kara shook her head. "Must challenge directly," she insisted. "Nazari way. Even with criminals, must give chance for honorable combat." John argued that the rogues had already abandoned honor, but Kara was firm. This was her culture, her code. She would not compromise her principles even against those who had abandoned theirs. Finally, they reached a compromise. Kara would issue a formal challenge as tradition demanded, but they would prepare contingencies in case the rogues refused to follow the warrior code. They worked quickly, setting up position markers for John to provide covering fire if needed, creating simple traps along likely escape routes, and preparing the battlefield to Kara's advantage. When all was ready, Kara stood tall and strode toward her ship. John remained hidden, his weapon ready. Following their plan, Vexcar noticed Kara immediately, his posture shifting to aggressive readiness. The other two rogues flanked him. Weapons drawn. A Kara of Nazari 6th Combat Division. Challenge you Vexcar exile to combat by code. You trespass on my claim, dishonor my ship, violate scout territory. Vexcar laughed a harsh sound that carried across the rocky terrain. The warrior code means nothing to me anymore. Kara of 6th Division. Your ship, your territory, your very life are mine to take. As expected, he had rejected the honorable challenge. But Kara had anticipated. This, it was part of their plan. You fear true combat. Then Kara taunted fear, facing warrior of honor. The insult struck home, Vexicar's pride visibly wounded. Even exiled, Nazari could not bear accusations of cowardice. Very well, he snarled. I accept challenge, but not by code. My rules, my victory. The other two rogues formed a circle with Vexcar, trapping Kara between them. This too they had expected. The rogues would never fight. Fair Kara stood calm in the center of the triangle, her 4 hands empty of weapons, as challenge tradition required. Vexcar and his companions carried energy blades and what looked like projectile weapons of non-Nazari design. The fight began suddenly with all 3 rogues attacking at once. Kara moved with incredible speed. Dodging the first attacks, her empty hands found weapons in her armor, producing 2 energy daggers that glowed with purple light. From his position, John watched in awe as Kara faced 3 opponents. Each of her 4 arms moved independently, blocking, striking, evading. She was magnificent in combat, a true warrior fighting against dishonorable opponents. But even with her skill, the numbers were against her. A glancing blow caught her shoulder. Another struck her leg. The rogues were coordinating, their attacks driving her back. It was time for John to act. Following their plan, he fired 3 quick shots. Each struck the ground near a different rogue, not hitting them but startling them, breaking their coordination. The distraction was enough. Kara seized the moment, driving forward with renewed intensity. Her energy daggers found their mark in Vexicar's armor. Not fatal, but enough to wound him. The other rogues hesitated, surprised by the human intervention. This was not part of Nazari combat tradition. But neither was their 3 against 1 attack. Vexcar screamed in rage. Human interference. The challenge is void. No, Kara replied calmly. You void challenge when refuse code terms when attack 3 against 1. I accept ally help against dishonorable warriors. John continued providing covering fire, carefully placing shots to separate the rogues and give Kara fighting space. Against 1 opponent at a time, she was nearly unstoppable. The battle shifted, Kara pressing her advantage against the wounded Vexcar, while John kept the other 2 at bay with precise fire. One of the rogues fell back, clutching an injured arm. The other attempted to circle around, but triggered one of their prepared traps, a hidden snare that entangled his lower limbs. Vexcar realized his advantage was lost. Snarling with rage, he activated a device on his armor, a forbidden technology that created an energy shield around him. Escape device, Kara shouted to John. Block ship path. John ran, positioning himself between the rogues and Kara's vessel. The wounded rogues were retreating, but Vexcar stood his ground, the energy shield flickering around him. Kara approached him carefully. You lost, Vexcar. Leave now. Never return. The exile's face contorted with hate. This, not over 6th Division Nazari High Command here of Human Alliance, they not pleased your honor? Questioned your rank, stripped your family? Shamed. Kara didn't respond to the threat, but John could see the impact of the words. Her posture stiffened, slightly a nerve had been struck. Vexcar backed away, joining his companions. They disappeared over a ridge, likely heading for their own hidden vessel. When they were truly gone, Kara approached her ship carefully, checking for sabotage or tracking devices. John followed, setting up a perimeter as she had taught him. The ship appears undamaged, she reported after a thorough inspection. They search only, not enough time for serious tampering. John nodded in relief, but noticed Kara's troubled expression. What he asked, Vexcar threat. Not empty. She admitted Nazari High Command, very traditional Human Alliance, unexpected. Possibly forbidden. Will you be in trouble? Kara touched her wounded shoulder absently. Perhaps she acknowledged truth important to Nazari. Cannot lie and report. Must tell of human alliance of battle together. What will happen? John pressed, unknown. Kara admitted. Best outcome, new protocol established for human contact. Worst outcome, I join ranks of exiles. The thought of Kara being exiled because of him troubled John deeply. He didn't want to be the cause of her losing everything. Inside the ship, Kara checked the communication array, messages waiting from High Command. She activated the screen, reading the Nazari text with growing concern. What is it? John asked. Urgent recall. She translated. All scouts returned to fleet immediately. New orders regarding human expansion. John felt a chill. What kind of orders? Kara turned to him, her expression grave. Not specified but urgent. Recall. Never good sign. Fleet movement preparation for conflict, perhaps. Are they planning to attack Earth? John asked, his heart racing with sudden fear. Kara shook her head. I not know. Information limited to commander level, but urgent recall concerning. They stood in silence, for a moment, the implications hanging between them. Their peoples could be heading toward war while they had been building something very different. What now? John asked finally. I must respond, Kara said. Report contact with human, explain alliance and tell them about us, John added quietly. Kara looked at him, her four eyes soft. Yes, tell truth about battle, about alliance, about connection between warriors. She moved to the communication panel but hesitated, her hands above the controls. What if they order me to capture you? She asked, her voice unusually vulnerable. To bring you to fleet for study. John met her gaze. What would you do? Kara was silent for a long moment, her internal struggle visible. Then her posture straightened. Her expression became resolute. I follow honor, not just orders, she declared. You trust me, I trust you. Bond between warriors, sacred. Not broken for command. John felt something shift between them in that moment. Kara was choosing him, their connection over blind obedience. To her people it was a profound declaration. The tall violet-skinned alien woman named Kara stood at the edge of the battlefield, her four eyes scanning the rocky terrain of planet Zebulon 5. The human male lay defeated before her, his combat suit damaged and his weapons scattered across the ground. She had won their duel, as was the tradition of her people, the Nazari. The human looked up at her with determination in his eyes, not fear. She respected that Kara had studied humans before this first contact mission. They were physically weaker than Nazari, but their quick thinking and adaptability made them worthy opponents. This one had fought with exceptional skill, nearly defeating her, despite her superior strength and combat training. Kara should take him prisoner now. That was the protocol. The Nazari High Command wanted human specimens to study. Their species had only recently achieved interstellar travel, and the Nazari were curious about these newcomers to galactic society. But as Kara looked down at the human, something unexpected stirred within her. His name was John Adams. According to the identification on his combat suit, Kara had never met anyone who fought with such creativity, using the environment and unusual tactics to make up for physical disadvantages. During their battle, she had developed an unusual respect for him, and now facing his defeat, he showed no fear. Nazari warriors valued courage above all else. John stared back at Kara, his expression changing from defiance to curiosity. Why had she not restrained him yet? He watched as the tall, muscular alien woman tilted her head, studying him. Her features were almost human, except for her violet skin, elongated ears, and the ridge of small horns that crowned her forehead. Her four arms each ended in three-fingered hands currently relaxed at her sides rather than reaching for restraints. Perhaps she was waiting for backup, John thought, but her ship stood alone on the horizon. No other Nazari vessels in sight. John had come to this uninhabited planet following strange energy readings. His superiors at Earth Defense Force thought it might be a new power source. Instead, he had encountered this alien warrior. The fight had been intense, but fair. She could have killed him several times, but chose to disarm him instead. Kara made her decision. She extended one of her lower hands to the human. Come with me. she said in halting English. Learned from intercepted human transmissions, not prisoner. Alliance. John hesitated suspicion, replacing curiosity. The alien woman who had just thoroughly defeated him was offering alliance instead of capture. It went against everything Earth Defense Force had told him about first contact protocols with unknown species. They were supposed to be hostile, but something in her four eyes conveyed honesty. John accepted her hand, allowing Kara to pull him to his feet. Why, he asked. Simply Kara struggled to find the right human words. Your fight spirit beautiful. My people value warrior heart. You have strong heart. John felt an unexpected warmth at her words. On Earth, he was just another soldier. But this alien saw something special in him. Her assessment felt more genuine than any evaluation he had ever received. My name, Kara, of Nazari. 6th Combat Division. She continued, placing one hand over her chest in what appeared to be a formal greeting. John Adams, Earth Defense Force 3rd Reconnaissance Unit. He responded, mirroring her gesture. Kara smiled, revealing teeth that were surprisingly similar to human ones, except, for the pronounced canines, I show you my ship. Yes. They walked together toward her vessel, which resembled an elongated teardrop made of some shimmering metal. John remained alert, but increasingly curious. This was not the standard first contact he had been trained for. Inside the ship was surprisingly comfortable with curved walls and soft lighting designed for Nazari bodies, but not uncomfortable for humans. Kara gestured toward what appeared to be a seating area. Rest, she suggested. Take healing. Drink, she handed him a container filled with blue liquid. John hesitated, remembering his training about accepting anything from unknown species. Kara seemed to understand his concern. She took the container and sipped from it first, before returning it to him. Safe for humans. Our scientists study your biology. Many cycles. John accepted the drink, finding it had a pleasant minty taste. Whatever it contained made the soreness from their battle fade quickly. Kara sat across from him, her forearms folded. In a complex pattern, John found himself studying her features more closely. She was undeniably alien, yet there was something attractive about her. Her movements were smooth and graceful despite her muscular build. Her eyes held intelligence and something else he couldn't quite identify. Why are you here on this planet? John asked. Kara explained that she was a scout sent to investigate potential new territories for Nazari expansion. But her people were not conquerors. They sought uninhabited worlds or peaceful alliances. Humans were new to the interstellar community, and Nazari High Command wanted information. You fought well, Kara said with admiration. Most beings surrender when they see Nazari warrior. You fought until end. This is honorable. Thank you, John replied, feeling strangely flattered. And why offer alliance instead of taking me prisoner? Kara looked away momentarily as if embarrassed. In my culture, when warriors of equal spirit meet in battle, they become bond companions. This is highest honor. Sometimes bond companions become more than allies. They become life partners. John was surprised by this revelation. Was this alien warrior suggesting what he thought she was? Kara continued, I feel connection in battle. The way you move. The way you think, different from Nazari but complementary. I never feel this with anyone before, Nazari or otherwise. John found himself speechless. This first contact situation had taken an unexpected turn, but I understand humans may not share this tradition, Kara added quickly. I offer alliance friendship only if you prefer. John considered her words carefully. He had to admit there was something intriguing about Kara beyond her alien appearance. During their battle, he had admired her skill and honor, and now her directness and integrity were equally impressive. I think humans and Nazari have much to learn from each other, he said diplomatically, but relationships usually develop more gradually for humans. We get to know each other first. Kara nodded. That is acceptable, she said. My mission permits me 20 Earth days on this planet before reporting back to High Command. We have time to know each other. As night fell on Zebulon. 5. Kara showed John to a sleeping chamber. The room adjusted its temperature automatically to human comfort levels. John was impressed by the advanced technology. Sleep well, battle-worthy one, Kara said, before leaving him alone with his thoughts. John lay awake for some time, thinking about the strange turn his mission had taken. He had been sent to investigate an energy source and instead found himself forming an alliance with an alien warrior. A female alien warrior who seemed interested in more than just alliance. His training had never covered this scenario. Meanwhile, Kara returned to the ship's command center. She activated the communication array but hesitated before sending her report to the Nazari High Command. What would she tell them? She had encountered a human as expected, but instead of capturing him, as ordered, she had invited him onto her ship as an equal. This was against protocol, but there was something about this human that fascinated her. His fighting style had been unlike anything she had seen before. Creative, adaptable, using his environment to compensate for his physical limitations compared to her species. And there was a nobility in him, a warrior spirit that resonated with her own. Kara decided to delay her report. She would spend more time with this human. John Adams, learn more about him and his people before deciding what to tell High Command. The next morning, John awoke to find Kara waiting for him in the ship's central chamber. She had prepared a meal of synthesized foods compatible with human digestion. Today we hunt together, she announced. Learn each other's methods. This builds trust among warriors. John was intrigued. The idea of hunting with this alien woman both excited and unnerved him. She had bested him in combat yesterday, but today they would be allies. This was an opportunity to learn more about Nazari combat techniques. They left the ship together. Kara armed with what appeared to be an energy spear, while John carried his sidearm, the only weapon she had returned to him. They moved across the rocky landscape of Zebulon 5, following tracks that John could barely see, but Kara spotted easily. The Nazari hunting style was direct and physical. Kara explained. They preferred close combat even with dangerous prey. It tested a warrior's skill and courage. John's more cautious human approach amused her, but she respected its effectiveness. Around midday, they spotted their prey, a large six-legged creature with tough, armored skin grazing on mineral deposits. Kara explained it was called a thorax, highly prized by Nazari hunters for its speed and dangerous defensive spines. We take it together, she suggested. Two warriors, different methods. Same goal. John nodded. Understanding. This was as much about building trust as it was about hunting. What followed was an elaborate dance of combat. John providing ranged support while Kara closed in for the kill. Their different approaches complemented each other perfectly, and soon they stood victorious over the fallen thorax. You fight well as ally. John Adams, Kara said with genuine respect, our methods different but effective together. John felt a surge of pride at her words. There was something deeply satisfying about earning the respect of this formidable alien warrior. Kara composed her message to Nazari High Command carefully. She reported finding a human scout on Zebulon 5 engaging in combat and forming an alliance according to warrior tradition. She mentioned the encounter with Vexkar and his rogues, but omitted certain details about her growing feelings for John. When the message was complete, she showed it to John, translating the Nazari text. This best compromise, she explained, tells truth of alliance of battle together, but not all, not personal connection, not yet. John nodded, understanding the delicate balance she was trying to maintain. Report received, she added. We have 2 days before must return to fleet. 2 days to decide future. They spent that evening in silence, each lost in their own thoughts. The reality of their situation weighed heavily upon them. In just 2 days, they would have to make decisions that could affect not just their own lives, but potentially the relationship between their species. The next morning, Kara suggested they visit a place she had discovered during her initial survey of the planet special. Place, she said, important for decision-making. They traveled for several hours across increasingly lush terrain, the rocky landscape giving way to strange alien vegetation. With purple leaves and crystalline flowers, John had never seen this side of Zebulon 5 and marveled at its beauty. Finally, they reached their destination, a perfectly circular lake with water so clear it reflected the sky like a mirror. The lake, was surrounded by tall crystal formations that hummed softly in the breeze, creating an ethereal music. Nazari sacred place. Kara explained, reflection pool warriors come here, before great decisions. Life-changing moments. She led John to the water's edge and knelt beside it, motioning for him to do the same. Look, she instructed. John gazed into the water, expecting to see their reflections. But instead he saw something impossible. Images from Earth, his home, his family, the life he had left behind. How? John whispered, amazed. Water shows truth. Kara explained, not magic science. Strange minerals in water connect with mind, show important memories. Show what truly matters. John watched the shifting images in the water, feeling a profound sense of nostalgia and longing. He saw his parents, his friends, his life on Earth, but he also noticed something else. The images seemed incomplete somehow, as if something was missing. Kara looked into the water as well, her 4 eyes reflecting the strange light. I see. Nazari homeworld, she said quietly. My mother, my division, my life before you. They watched in silence as the images shifted and changed. When John looked again, he was surprised to see new visions forming. Images of himself and Kara together, fighting, side by side, exploring unknown worlds. Standing before what appeared to be a council of Nazari and humans, Kara gasped softly. Water never show future, she said with wonder, only truth of present heart. John realized what he was seeing. Their connection had become part of what truly mattered to both of them. It was no longer just Earth or just the Nazari homeworld that filled their hearts, but something new, something shared. The water settled, returning to its mirror-like state, reflecting only the alien sky above. Kara turned to John, her expression solemn. I make decision, she announced. I return to fleet as ordered, but I speak for humans, for peace. I tell High Command of human courage, honor, warrior spirit. I become voice for alliance, not war. John felt both relief and concern at her words. It would be dangerous for her to advocate for humans against the possible plans of her military leadership. Will they listen? He asked. Some will, some not, she admitted, but must try war between our people unnecessary, destructive. Both species strong, both honorable. Better as allies. And what about us? John asked the question that had been growing between them since their first encounter. Kara reached out, touching his face with one of her hands. Gesture she had learned. Was intimate for humans, I return for you, she promised. If possible, if allowed. When safe, John caught her hand in his. The size difference was striking her, 3 fingers against his 5. But somehow they fit together perfectly. I could go with you, he suggested, to your fleet. Show them not all humans fear. Nazari. Kara shook her head. Too dangerous, she said. Many Nazari not like Kara. Not see humans as equals, only as study subjects or enemies. You be captured, studied. Maybe worse. She was right. And John knew it. He couldn't risk becoming a prisoner or specimen. But the thought of Kara leaving, returning to her people, possibly never seeing her again, was painful. We have tonight, tomorrow morning, Kara said gently. Then I must go. But not goodbye. Not forever, promised by warrior code. They returned to the ship as the suns were setting. The 3 moons of Zebulon, 5 rising in succession, painting the landscape in silver light. They prepared a final meal together, sharing stories of their worlds, their childhoods, their hopes as night deepened. Kara taught John a Nazari warrior ritual, a sharing of blood and vows that created a formal bond between them. This make us blood allies, she explained. Most sacred connection in Nazari culture, not broken by distance, time, or command, not even by death. The ritual was simple but profound, a small cut on each of their palms, their blood mingling as they clasped hands. Speaking ancient Nazari words that John repeated carefully, phrase by phrase. By this blood we bound by. This oath we joined. Warriors, comrades, defenders. Until last breath falls, until stars grow cold. When it was done, Kara pressed her forehead to his another Nazari gesture of deep respect and affection. Now always connected, she whispered. No matter what comes, they spent their final night together under the 3 moons of Zebulon 5, talking, sharing silence, learning the contours of each other's minds and hearts. 2 beings from different worlds, finding connection across the gulf of evolution, and culture morning came too quickly. The first sun breaking over the horizon in a blaze of orange light. It was time for preparation. Kara needed to ready her ship for departure. John helped with the preparations, working alongside her in comfortable silence, occasionally asking questions about Nazari technology and flight systems. Each moment precious, each second slipping away too quickly. Finally, everything was ready. Kara stood by the ship's entrance. Her combat armor polished her weapons, secured her, expression a mixture of determination and regret. I speak to High Command immediately upon arrival, she promised. Make case for human alliance, for peace. Tell of John Adams, human warrior with honor, with courage, with heart. John nodded, struggling with words that seemed inadequate for the moment. How do you say goodbye to someone who had in such a short time become so important, so essential? Kara seemed to understand his struggle. In Nazari culture, no goodbye for blood allies, she said. Only until we meet again. She reached out, placing something in his hand. A small crystal device communication beacon, she explained. Works across great distance, even between stars. Send thoughts, feelings, words. Keep connection while apart. John clutched the device, feeling its warmth against his palm. I'll use it every day, he promised. Kara nodded. Then, in a gesture she had learned from him, she extended her hand for what humans called a handshake. John took her hand but pulled her into an embrace instead. Something Kara had observed but never experienced. She stiffened momentarily, surprised, then her 4 arms encircled him gently, careful of her strength. The feeling was unlike anything John had experienced, completely alien yet profoundly comforting. When they separated, Kara's eyes seemed to shimmer with emotion. I return, John Adams, she vowed. By honor, by blood, by heart. I return. She stepped into her ship, the door sealing behind her. John moved back to a safe distance as the engines came to life. The teardrop-shaped vessel rising slowly from the ground, hovering for a moment as if reluctant to leave. Inside the ship, Kara looked down at the solitary human figure on the planet's surface, a being so different from herself, yet one who had changed everything. She activated the communication system one last time. Until we meet again. John Adams. Her voice came through his comm unit. Then the ship accelerated upward, becoming a silver streak against the blue sky, and finally disappearing among the stars. John stood, watching long after the ship had vanished, one hand clutching the communication beacon, the other raised in farewell. His mission abandoned his duty, complicated by feelings he had never expected to develop for an alien warrior. But as he lowered his hand, he felt not loss but determination. Kara would fight for peace, for alliance from her side. He would do the same from his Earth, needed to know about the Nazari, about their strength, their honor, their potential as allies, and about one violet-skinned, 4-armed warrior in particular who had chosen connection over conflict. John activated his own emergency beacon, signaling for extraction from Zebulon 5. He had much to report, much to explain, much to fight for. On the beacon in his hand, a small, light pulsed steady as a heartbeat, a connection across the stars, a promise. 6 months had passed since Kara left Zebulon. 5. John had returned to Earth, bringing with him reports of the Nazari, their technology, their culture, and most importantly, their potential as allies rather than enemies. His superiors at Earth Defense Force had been skeptical at first, but the detailed information he provided along with the Nazari communication beacon convinced them that diplomatic contact was worth pursuing. John had been debriefed, questioned, studied, and finally assigned to a new unit. the First Contact Division responsible for establishing peaceful relations with new alien species. His experience with Kara made him uniquely qualified for this role. Every night he used the communication beacon, reaching out across the vast distance of space. Sometimes he received messages in return, brief encrypted bursts of Nazari language that the Earth scientists were still working to fully translate. But he recognized certain phrases, words of reassurance, words of connection, words of longing. Today was different. Today Earth would make official first contact with the Nazari. A diplomatic vessel had been dispatched to a neutral location, a space station orbiting an uninhabited planet, in a star system halfway between Earth and Nazari. Space John was part of the delegation, his knowledge of Nazari customs and language making him invaluable. He stood at the viewport watching as the massive Nazari ship approached. The vessel dwarfed the Earth ship, its design similar to Kara's scout ship but on a much larger scale. Elegant, lethal, beautiful, just like its creators. Admiral Chen approached, standing beside him at the viewport. "So you really believe these four-armed warriors can be reasoned with?" she asked, her voice skeptical. "Just reasoned with," Admiral John replied. "They have a strict code of honor. They value courage and direct communication. They respect strength but also wisdom. They're not so different from us in the ways that matter." The Admiral nodded, not entirely. "Convinced the reports you filed about your time with this Kara? They read like what?" John asked when she hesitated. "Like more than a first contact scenario," Chen finished carefully. John didn't respond, his eyes fixed on the approaching Nazari vessel. The Admiral was right, of course. His connection with Kara had been more than diplomatic, more than strategic. But how could he explain that to someone who had never met a Nazari, never looked into four eyes that saw beyond species, never felt four strong arms protecting them in battle? The communication officer's voice came over the intercom. "The Nazari delegation is requesting docking permission. Protocol says their representatives will board our vessel." "Granted," Admiral Chen replied. Then, too, "John, stay close during the meeting, Lieutenant Adams. Your expertise will be essential." John followed the Admiral to the docking bay, his heart racing. They had no way of knowing if Kara would be part of the delegation. She was just one warrior in a vast Nazari fleet. But the communication beacon had given him hope. Her last message had been longer than usual, though the translation was still incomplete. The airlock cycled open, revealing three tall, violet-skinned figures. Two male Nazari in what appeared to be diplomatic attire flanked a female in full battle armor. John's breath caught in his throat. It was her. It was Kara. The Nazari delegation stepped forward, the males performing elaborate greeting gestures, while Kara stood silent. Her, four eyes scanning the human delegation. When she spotted John, her posture changed subtly, a straightening of her spine, a slight tilt of her head. Only someone who knew her would notice the reaction. Admiral Chen stepped forward. "Welcome to Earth Diplomatic. Station 1. I am Admiral Chen representing the United Earth Government." One of the male Nazari responded in careful English. "I am Speaker Torak of Nazari High Command. This is Speaker Zulvan of Science Division. And this," he gestured to Kara, "is Commander. Kara of 6th Combat Division, recently promoted for exceptional service." Commander John thought with a surge of pride. She had been promoted, not exiled. Her advocacy for humans had been heard, not punished. The formal introductions continued as both delegations moved to the conference room. John was introduced as Lieutenant Adams' first contact specialist. His eyes met Kara's briefly across the table. Her expression remained professional neutral, but he saw the warmth in her gaze, the recognition. The connection still strong despite the months apart. The negotiations began carefully, both sides presenting their positions, their concerns, their hopes for peaceful coexistence. John provided insights into Nazari culture, helping the human delegation understand the importance of directness and honor in their communications. Kara occasionally clarified points about human customs for her fellow Nazari, hours passed with progress made on preliminary agreements, both sides cautious but open to alliance, rather than conflict. As the first day of talks concluded, Admiral Chen suggested a recess. The delegations would reconvene the following morning as the groups prepared to separate. Kara approached John formally. "Lieutenant Adams," she said, her voice carefully neutral. "Would you be available to clarify some points of human protocol? I have questions that would help our delegation better understand." "Your species," Admiral Chen nodded her approval. "Lieutenant Adams has been granted authority to speak on cultural matters." John led Kara to a small meeting room away from the main conference area. As soon as the door closed behind them, her formal demeanor melted away. "John Adams," she said, her voice warm with emotion. 6 Earth months, 17 days. Since Zebulon 5. John smiled. "You counted every day," she admitted, "every moment." They stood looking at each other, drinking in the changes. The new scar on Kara's face, the formal insignia of her commander rank, the slight weathering around John's eyes, the lieutenant bars on his uniform. "You were promoted," John said. "Both of us moving up in rank." Kara nodded. "Small reward for big risk," she explained. "My report about humans about you caused much debate in high command. Many wanted war, immediate strike, against Earth colonies, but others listened. Saw opportunity in alliance. You convinced them, not alone." Kara said modestly. "Others in high command had studied humans, saw potential. I simply provided evidence. Personal experience. Warrior-to-warrior connection." John wanted to embrace her but hesitated, unsure of the protocol. The last time they had been alone together, they were just a human soldier and a Nazari warrior. Now they represented their species in formal diplomatic talks. Kara seemed to read his thoughts. She stepped closer. "I fought to be part of delegation," she admitted. "Not usual for combat commander to join diplomatic mission. But I insisted, told high command my experience with humans made me valuable." "You are valuable," John said. "In more ways than..." They know. Kara's 4 eyes softened. "I receive your messages," she said. "Every night beacon connects across stars. Scientists confused by transmissions, not understand importance, but I know I feel. My scientists were the same." John laughed, always asking about the technology. Never understanding it was the connection that mattered. "Can we succeed?" Kara asked suddenly, serious. "Will our peoples find peace? Or is this temporary? Our connection exception not?" Rule John considered her question carefully. "Both. Their careers, their futures, perhaps the futures of their species depended on these negotiations. Humans and Nazari are different," he acknowledged, "but differences can strengthen, not divide. Look at us, a human soldier, a Nazari warrior, from worlds light, years apart, with different biology, different evolution, different culture. Yet we found common ground. We found connection." Kara finished for him. "Yes," John agreed. "The connection. That's what I believe can happen between our species. Not just tolerance or cold peace, but true alliance, understanding, respect." Kara nodded, then reached out one of her hands toward him. John took it, feeling again the strange, wonderful difference of her 3 fingers against his 5 demonstration project. She suggested, with a smile. "Term from diplomatic training, small example proves larger concept possible." John smiled back, understanding. "We're the demonstration project, proof that human and Nazari can connect, can work together, can care for each other." Kara finished. "Yes," John said simply. Their hands remained joined, a bridge between worlds, between species. For a moment they were not Lieutenant Adams and Commander Kara. They were simply John and Kara, 2 beings who had found each other against all odds across the gulf of space and difference. Tomorrow they would return to the conference room. Tomorrow they would be formal representatives of their peoples working toward alliance and peace. Tomorrow the future of human-Nazari relations would continue to unfold. But tonight, in this moment, they were the proof that such a future was possible. "I kept my promise," Kara said softly. "I returned." "You did," John agreed. "And I kept mine. I waited. Always keep promises to blood allies." Kara reminded him, her free hand touching the small scar on her palm where they had performed the ritual on Zebulon 5 blood allies. John repeated, touching his own matching scar. "And more, And more, Kara agreed. More than allies, more than friends, more than words in any language, human or Nazari, they stood together in comfortable silence, their connection spanning worlds and stars, a bond forged in battle, strengthened by separation, and now renewed in person. The beginning of something neither of their species had anticipated, but both might ultimately need. Outside, the viewport stars shone against the darkness of space. Countless worlds, countless possibilities among them, Earth and the Nazari homeworld. No longer isolated points of light, but connected, like the two beings who stood hand in hand, creating a future neither could have imagined alone.